Welcome to the When We Cry Book Club podcast, where we will be discussing Umineko's third episode.
Wow!
This is our fourth part of the summary / discussion following up on Battler and Virgilia coming up with a game plan to effectively argue against Beatrice's first Twilight locked room murder chain. I'm Lorenzo, hosting the discussion.
I am Des,
And there's Mushroom.
Woo, we did it!
Yay!
It's been, okay, so it probably won't matter to whoever's listening, but it's been over a month probably of us not having a book club recording, so
it's been a 1,000 years.
Yeah, it has been.
Honestly. I mean, how have you guys been? What have you been up to in this past month-ish?
Okay, Mushroom, do you want to go first since you have a follow-up from the last episode?
Yes, so I think like a long time ago I promised that I was going to finish Fata Morgana, and I think that's just edited the previous episode, and it said that I just finished the main game of House of Fata Morgana, that I was going to take a break, quote unquote, and then read Requiem, and then I literally read Requiem like 3 days later in like 2 days. And then right after that I read the other thing after Requiem in like a whole afternoon because I'm insane, and then just went on and like spread the gospel of the House of Fata Morgana because I think it's amazing.
And also, while we're still on Fata Morgana, the slowest fucking reader in the world.
Yes.
There has been such a gap from the last episode that I was able to finish Fata Morgana in the time in between.
Yes, I did. I basically threatened Des to read Fata Morgana. If you are also a listener of log episodes, you probably have heard about how I basically was like, Des, I'm going to strap you to a chair. You have to read Fata Morgana. And Des was like, how long is Fata Morgana? And I was like, I don't know. I read it in 3 days. And Des was like, maybe that will be a week for me. That it was not a week for Des. And Des kept like, and halfway through the story, Des was like, am I getting anywhere? And I'm like, Des, I can't even tell you how long the story is. Like, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't think, like, I'm like this story, but I don't think it's gonna be worth my time. And then Mushroom was like, Des, just fucking keep reading. Then I kept reading, and at the end I was like, you know what? I'm glad I kept reading. Fata Morgana is worth it.
Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, there's always a part of where, I mean, minor playtime spoilers, but there's a point where you're like, it keeps going on and on and on. And even Mushroom was like, when does it end? How long is this going to keep going?
So the whole time I was reading House of Fata Morgana, I was just basically live messaging like Lorenzo, and I was like, this is just getting ridiculous. Like, what the hell? Like, how is this still going? But the good thing is, at least now, all three of us on Book Club have read House of Fata Morgana. So now, if we truly want to do a tiny, tiny House of Fata Morgana corner, or do even a smoking room episode of it, we can.
We can also, we definitely need to invite Yensid for that episode, because the fucker places Fata Morgana above Umineko, and I do not understand how that is
That's also true.
possible.
And well, the problem is, Yensid places Fata Morgana above Umineko because he read Fata Morgana first.
Nah, he says it's because the characters got to him more in...
Yeah, I would disagree. I think, even though I like House of Fata Morgana's character, I will say Umineko's characters are so way better than... Like, to me, fuller, more human to me in Umineko than Fata Morgana.
As I told you, there's a character in Fata Morgana who's, like, unbelievably a good person. When I say unbelievably, it's unbelievably, because, like, how the fuck are you such a good person? Like, what the fuck?
Okay. Before we get too long on this Fata Morgana tangent, what else do we want to talk about, Des? Is there anything else that happened in your life besides getting...
I have been waiting to play a game since it came out, like fucking years ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, we're going to talk about it now.
It's going to be quick, real quick. I promise, Mushroom. So there's this game I have been wanting to play like a fucking lot since it came out, but I couldn't because I always had Nintendo systems and my PC couldn't run fucking Minecraft. And so, since I got a new laptop some time ago, and I finally, on the next Steam sale after having bought the laptop, I finally bought the game, which is Nier Automata. And I had fucking abysmal expectations for it, because literally every video on it on YouTube says like the greatest fucking storytelling in game, the philosophy of Nier Automata and shit. And then I played it and I'm like, bro, The story?
And then meanwhile, and wait, I just want to mention this so I could get credit for it. Uh, Basically, like almost done with the game, Des messaged me, and Des messaged me being like, "Huh, like how I like the story so far, but like, am I supposed to be getting some stuff? Like, am I supposed to be getting it?" And then I basically was trying to be encouraging, and I was like, like not really, but like you just should keep playing. You should get to the end, but like I think Yoko Taro is kind of a hack. And then Des was like, "What do you mean a hack?" And I was like, personal taste. Like, when you get to the end, we can talk about it." And then Des was
and then
like,
I got to the
"Okay."
end, and I messaged Mushroom like, "So this is the end? Like, what the fuck? What? Where's the conclusion to the game?"
And I'm like,
"What
"Yep."
the fuck?" And like, the fucking twist at the end, the fucker, like, Yoko Taro is a kid. He's a 14-year-old kid who thinks he's deep. No, bro, I am not. Okay, spoilers for the end of Nier Automata. Skip to the time on screen. No, I'm not deleting my save file for a fucking artificial difficulty spike you artificially made just so your stupid twist could work. I like the game, not for your story, so of course I'm not gonna fucking delete my save file. Fuck Yoko Taro. That is my take.
But yeah, I think my thoughts on Nier Automata, non-spoiler, you could, and if you now you can jump back. But my thoughts on Yoko Taro is that I really like his gameplay, and this is speaking as a person who also played Nier Gestalt. I played both games and I liked them, but like at the same time, I can't tell if Yoko Taro is just like a hack and he's just jerking us around and making us do all these difficult things because he can, or like he's like doing this sincerely and he truly believes that he has a message to tell. Because honestly speaking, like there's a lot of things about it that I just kind of hate, like, but there's also a lot of things that I like about Nier Automata. And like as a person who played the game like twice, like I truly loved the gameplay. I loved like bits and pieces of it, but like just how like fucking jerked off the ending is makes me feel like, I don't know, man. Like, I know there's a lot of YouTube videos on it. Like, I know Kirio made like 2 videos on Nier Automata, and I don't know if I want to watch it because I just feel like I have such a mind made up about it that I just don't know if I would agree.
So our take is basically good game, the story is kind of meh, and the twist is stupid. Is that it? Do you agree, Mushroom? So Mushroom fucking died, but she said yes on all caps. So she does agree.
What did I do in the past month? I played Resident Evil Village, and it was so good. I mean, you guys got it.
Is that the vampire lady game?
Yeah, so everyone simps over the tall vampire lady, but let me tell you, Heisenberg, the
girl?
the grungy looking, no, he's a dude, Frankenstein-like guy. I mean, I get, like, the vampire lady stuff. She's, like, tall and booby and old, but Heisenberg, oh my god. Man, Heisenberg, oh my god. He can ruin every orifice in my body. But, I mean, I was talking to some friends who are also very into Resident Evil, and they're like, yeah, they already have, like, over 300 tags for Lady Dimitrescu, the vampire lady, on
Nice.
AO3.
That's amazing.
So it's pretty wild right now. The hype train's still going. The iron's still pretty hot in regards to the excitement around Village. Lady. I gotta say, it's actually, like, hype aside, it's a pretty good game, and check it out. It's really short too, so you can probably finish it in a weekend if you try really hard. I mean, I know how you are with, like with Fata Morgana. I think you can probably beat Village in a sitting if you do the same to them.
Really? I'm not sure. I think like I'm very good at reading books, but like gameplay is a different thing for me.
Got you.
I recently had a conversation with somebody who was playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. Sorry about Fire Emblem Three Houses discourse again.
Here we are again.
She was like, "Oh, I'm 140 hours of gameplay right now," and I was like, "Oh, how many routes do you finish?" And she was like, 3 routes, and I was like, "What?" And I was like,
What?
"Oh no!" Like I'm like 140 hours, and I only finished 2 routes, and I was like, "Oh my god, she plays so much faster than I am." And I guess I suck. So that's my point. Like, if you were to ask me like how fast I could read a story, I can read it in like a blink of an eye. But like, people told me Octopath was a 100-hour game. Currently, I have 120 hours in the game, but I'm only on chapter 3 for everybody. So like, clearly I suck.
I get it. I mean, like, I'm actually slow, really, really slow with reading. I've been replaying Phoenix Wright the Ace Attorney trilogy, and I know that like they say, oh yeah, you should be able to like beat every game in like 12 hours, and I'm already at like 50 after the first two, and I'm like, am I just stupid? Anyways, what's this whole stupid story about? Like I said previously, we're following up on Battler and Virgilia coming up with a game plan to combat Golden Witch Beatrice's first Twilight ceremony, which was the locked room chain murders, where each of the servants was found dead in a room, and on their person or on their corpse, I guess, there was a key to and a letter telling them where to find the next body and unlock the room afterwards. So afterwards, the entire Shiramiya family are pretty freaked out, so they hold themselves up in the guest house and they plan to hold out until tomorrow while the siblings guard the entrance with their Winchester rifles. Rifles?
I don't know.
Shotguns? Whatever.
They're guns.
Yeah, they're guns. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Jinx. So upon discovering, I think, Kinzo's body, they find another letter that urges them all to solve the epitaph in order to achieve headship. And Ava and the others are on it. They kind of break down the riddle behind it.
Objective, get head.
Yeah, get that sweet Ushiramiya head.
Guys.
So they all like discuss it. They kind of break down the riddle behind it, but for you, dear reader, we'll have to let you figure it out on your own, lol, because it's the questions are. But I do really like the part where they reference a character that's in Maria's like name, and then Rosa's like, no. Kinzo fucking hates her. There's no way that she's actually part of the solution.
One of those reasons why Kinzo hates Maria so much is not only like he just like thinks Rosa is like really stupid and incompetent. It's also because Maria is a name that Rosa gave to.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they actually mention it here because like they're like, oh,
they do.
It's not her. Dad has nothing to do with his name.
But Kinzo asked Rosa to change the characters,
something
with which
like
it is written.
Go Rosa for being a girl boss and defying Kinzo and naming Maria whatever she wanted to name her. But
did Kinzo ask Rosa to change the characters into what they are now, or did he ask her to change? I
think there was a few things. I think one of the first thing is she named Maria, but like the character of like one of the word is like the Madi part is it's like instead of using like the normal version that people usually use, they use the version that looks more like a cross, and I think that was
that's what Rosa wanted,
or
what
Kinzo wanted. I think Kinzo had an input on that.
Kinzo, okay.
Don't quote me on that. We can check that later.
Okay.
Oh, I was actually going to say Mushroom's probably our most reliable source because you read Did you also read the Japanese version?
No, I do own the Japanese version.
Chinese?
But I did read the Chinese version, and I do a lot of cross-referencing. At least
I trust that.
Yeah, at least that's something that I'm really interested in because I recently had a conversation since the game doesn't necessarily solve the epitaph with you, and my friend Dubs, who was reading it, he was just like, well, could I solve the epitaph? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, didn't people say like you have to have like Japanese knowledge to solve the epitaph? And I was like, well, like even if you're Japanese, you have to have English knowledge to solve the epitaph, and there even more knowledge of other random stuff. Solve it. So it doesn't even matter. You're everybody's at disadvantage basically.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I was also going to say, I think we'll get to that part later, but I think there is actually a slight translation difference between the epitaph in English and Japanese.
Yeah, we will talk about it. I actually know all of the differences and why are they different. The reason why I know is because when Dubs was trying to solve the epitaph, because Dubs is really into puzzles, he asked me, he was like, he is playing the Steam version, and even if you're playing the Steam version, you patch it in with PS3 sprites, they're still using the Steam translation. So the Steam translation's epitaph is actually different from the original Witch Hunt version of the epitaph. Witch Hunt actually has two versions of the epitaph translation, and I think the manga translation uses the Witch Hunt translation. So
really? What?
So I'm pretty... Okay, so this is good. So technically speaking, I think the Witch Hunt translation had one translation for basically when they're first translating the epitaph, which is pre like question arc, basically like pre solving the epitaph or pre knowing what the solution of the epitaph is. And then I think they went back and retranslated an EP7, I think. And then like so on and so forth, like the same idea that happens. And then so there's already 2 versions of the witch hunt. There is basically a straight literal translation, like online, I think was used for the manga and for other things. And then the last translation is the translation that's currently used in the Steam version, which is actually...
Do you want to talk about that now? Or
oh my god, I'm talking about this. I'm going to talk about this later. I'm so sorry I brought this up.
Okay.
Oh, no, I mean, we are still talking about the epitaph. I think this is the part where they talk about the differences, but there are, like, a couple other, like, funny things that maybe the English reading audience can, like, appreciate, because, like, when the adults are all solving the riddle, right, they're, like, maybe there's some wordplay around it, and Rudolph is like, oh, yeah, it's like if you took out the R's and the E's in the phrase sucker, marry, barrelers, and then Natsuhi's like...
What does that mean? I don't get it.
So if you, right, and you know, if you're still
does she not though
looking for the answer, it says "suck my balls," right? Rudolph pulled a ligma in front of everybody else, and you're like, oh, Rudolph, how could you, you dog? I don't think Natsuhi actually gets it. Well, actually, she does, but it's okay, Queen. We love her. And then afterwards, everyone kind of gives up except Ava and Rosa because they really be trying to get that Kinzo bag. So we're back to the metaverse where Virgilia mentions to Beato, giving Battler the red truth of there not being more than 18 people on the island too early nearly gave the whole mystery away. I wonder what that means. I mean, I personally was too stupid to like catch on to this, so don't worry about it. So now Battler's line of thinking has shifted onto the one of the 18 people on the island are the culprit, as opposed to a secret mystery 19th person hiding on the island pulling the strings. So Beato continues to pout about Virgilia siding with Battler and begs for a hint as to
what to
to finding a way to get to Battler, right? Whatever that means. And then Virgilia reminds Beatrice of the true goal, which is getting Battler to accept her. For what purpose, I wonder? So
to become a witch. It's pretty obvious.
So she continues her advice and tells Beato to coax Battler to her side instead of being a complete bitch to him, a la the North Wind and the Sun fable, where, you know, the elements were able to get this
man to strip.
Get the
traveler to strip naked. Yes, that's the whole point.
Exactly, yes. So what did the North Wind do? The North Wind tried to blow him as hard as he could, and then the traveler's like, no way. And then the sun just did what the sun does and became really hot, right? And then the traveler happily took off his clothes. So that's kind of what... Yes. So
the
that's
sun is hot. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's what... God. Beato can find a way to be somehow likable, even though she's showcasing murders in front of him, can get her mysterious point across to him. But Beato's like, grr, I don't want to do that. That's stupid. And, you know, that's kind of like the way she words her feelings about it makes it seem like she's kind of shy and she's basically down bad for Battler, you know?
But onegaishimasu, solve this mystery.
Yeah, something like that. It's kind of cute. So we're back to Ava in her first person perspective. She's about to give up on solving the epitaph, and then her imaginary friend, younger self, eggs her on to persevere, or else. So young Ava mentions that a baby could basically have written this whole epitaph and that men are always children. Go off, Queen. Snaps for her. They're close to the answer, and young Ava suggests that the answer to the riddle lies within a book in the guest house library. And then Ava has a brain blast and seemingly discovers the answer after poring over an atlas.
Yeah. Okay, wait. You went over this a bit too rapidly, Lorenzo. The whole thing about Eva's just sitting down on the sofa, right? And then this clicks in her head, and like, the sense of urgency that the music gives when she's just like, holy shit, I just reached the answer. Oh my fucking god! Like, bro, it's god fucking damn it. EP3 has such good moments. Like, holy
I think
shit.
that part, regardless of the whole like fluff that Ryukishi writes, I think the whole scene from Ava, young Ava, convincing herself to solve the epitaph, up to Ava just like frantically having all the pieces fall together in her mind. She's like, oh, I think
It's
I got
like
it.
truly like a mind palace. Like, oh, I got it. I solved it. This is how the mystery ends.
Yes.
It's impressive.
It was pretty good.
It's a very good scene.
Yeah. So they're talking about it, but they don't actually reveal the answer outright because it's still the question mark.
Yeah, what a bitch, Ryukishi.
I know. That pissed me off a little bit, but that's okay. And then it cuts to Ava discovering the gold in the decked out underground VIP room after passing through a creepy underground mysterious passageway that's somehow on the island.
Yeah.
But they still don't tell you how she got there. They just immediately cut from the library to the room, and that pissed me off even more because they didn't show the answer at that point.
It pisses us off so fucking much on a first read, but like honestly, thank you, Rikishi, for not giving us the answer. That was the best thing to do.
I guess. Yeah, it makes you think about how the epitaph, because like at that point you're probably like, wait, he probably revealed all the hints you needed to have in order to solve the epitaph. It's clearly that
Ryukishi is sending you a challenge, like letter, telling you that like, well, now I have given you all the pieces. If you still can't solve it, then you're the idiot. And clearly we're all the idiots. Speaking about this, have you guys do you know anybody who solved the epitaph at EP3?
Nope.
Recently I'm watching that would go around and just basically watch other people's Let's Play. I went back to listen to Joe Chrono's Let's Play. They're the people who also was on the Lokenjima podcast. They solved the epitaph in EP3. There were a 40-minute video of it, and it's pretty great. It's the correct answer. So I was impressed. I was like, wow, they truly like connected all the dots. And I mean, the more I think about it, it's pretty possible. I do know other people who have solved it, but it's so great whenever you see it happen.
Yeah.
See,
True witch hunters. Have we reached Eva finding the gold yet?
Yeah. Eva found the VIP room full of gold.
Okay.
And then she
loses
it.
Honestly, Eva finding the gold has got to be top 5 Umineko voice acting moments.
I was gonna say, you're right. You're exactly right. She's like, she loses her shit. She soils her pants mentally and physically. She spouts that she's gonna keep all the money to herself and she's gonna save her own family and give it some to George. And, at this point, she's lost you. She's gonna give any of that money to George.
I mean, she's happy. She's excited.
He doesn't deserve it.
She basically she gets like her moments with the gold, and then she hears footsteps. Dun dun dun. Who's coming?
Uh-oh.
Right, but before that,
Could it be the person I just called to them to solve the epitaph?
Right. But she thanks her imaginary friend / younger self, and she comes out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when she's thanking her imaginary friend / younger self, it's kind of worded like, "Thank you, Shiramiya Eva." Or Eva, you're so smart and sexy and also the true golden witch Beato, which is funny because she's basically congratulating herself, right?
Obama meme.
Yeah, so she's about to exit the VIP room when she runs into Rosa on her way back up, and it sucks to be you, Rosa, because she was like literally 5 minutes too late before solving the epitaph, and then Rosa vocalizes that she regrets helping Ava solve it in the first place because she definitely would have gotten the gold first, which is like, go off, Rosa. Like, you kind of suck, but you're also a girl boss.
But yeah, I also wanted to mention there's one more line that we passed by, and it's the line where Eva, Ushiromi Eva says like, oh, this is my magic, our magic. Your magic was the real thing. Beatrice and the witches in the forest is nothing more than an illusion. You are the real witch who could use real magic. That's right. Right now, you are the golden witch, Beatrice. And then that's how Eva becomes Eva. Well, we haven't got there yet, but this is how Eva become a Beatrice, basically. She just she finds the gold, and it all goes uphill, I guess.
Yeah, she's the true Beatrice, the golden witch. Right, because there's gold. Get it?
I will never call Eva Beato the true Beatrice.
Well, she said she is.
Well, I don't buy it. Fuck you, Eva Beato.
I don't trust her. You gave birth to George. How could you? You have no right.
Oh my god. That's actually the true greatest sin of Eva, is that she gave birth to George, and that's the worst quality about her. Well, about her.
George.
Exactly. So back to Ava and Rosa's standoff in the corridor leading to the gold. basically. Rosa divulges that she doesn't actually care about the headship, or so she says, and she just wants to see Cross eat shit. And she's glad to let Ava get away with the title.
You know what? Oh, don't we all?
Yeah, honestly.
True.
But she's glad to let Ava get away with the title as long as she gets her promised share of the gold. They're both pointing guns at each other, and they both consider having all the gold to themselves. And they're just like, wouldn't it be nuts to just kill everyone and have all the gold to yourself? Wouldn't that be crazy? And Rosa says, nah, I don't think murder is worth all this gold. And afterwards, Rosa and Ava put their guns down. They're returning to the guest house, and Rosa acknowledges Ava as the Ushiramiya head, but is a little sus about her intentions regarding the gold. And they both argue about divulging the discovery to everyone else. Ava wants to keep it under wraps, but Rosa says that they all promised that they'd immediately reveal if any one of them found the gold, right? So,
because Eva doesn't want to reveal that she found the gold because she's pretty sure Kraus would find a way to snatch it away.
Exactly.
And
it's his
Rosa wants everybody to know because she's worried that Eva might snatch it away.
It's really funny because that's just like, classic sibling bickering, right? Because she's like, oh, Cross is going to probably say, oh, it was on my property, so I own it.
Sibling bickering. I definitely remember when I argued with my brother about the ownership of 10 tons of gold,
Yeah, in his side of the room or whatever. So Ava offers Rosa an ultimatum to keep quiet and listen to the head, otherwise she'll forfeit all the gold. And Rosa's like, well, my hands are tied. So they end up discussing the servant murders were probably just an act orchestrated by Kinzo to get them to solve the epitaph riddle, and he'll probably pop out at any moment saying, surprise, you solved my riddle, wubba-lubba-dub-dub. Rosa agrees to keep quiet about the gold until the following day when the seagulls cry. Dun, dun, dun. She says it.
Is it the first time they dropped the title or no? I feel like they have done it before.
What's that? Yeah,
they have in EP2.
They title dropped this is probably the third time they dropped Seagulls Cry this episode. Maybe fourth or fifth, but they say it a lot.
No, I think they say it one time in EP2 and 2 times in EP3.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah. Ava applauds Rosa's toughness, and she says that she's gotten stronger since having Maria, because she's been training on Maria physically as a punching bag.
Don't say that.
So Ava tells Rosa that she'll split the gold, but young Ava is in her head acting like a gremlin and kicking and screaming about having complete ownership of the gold and headship. And then Golden Witch Beatrice comes along to acknowledge young Ava's accomplishment and grants her the Ushiramiya headship via the ring, and grants her the title Ava Beatrice in the metaverse. And wow, she's a real boy now. She gets her witch staff and witch drip. It's a pretty good costume, iconic costume, if you will. And there's a whole scene where there's this coronation going on. She receives congratulations from Renove, Virgilia, the Demon Stakes, and even Lambda Delta, who says she vouched for Ava Beatrice's endless witchhood.
Lambda Delta, and even Burnt Castal's there.
Yeah, both of them show up, and Lambda's like pulling her Witch of Certainty rank, and Burn Castal's like coming along to shit on her, saying Ava's accomplishment was just a coincidence. So
wow.
What do you guys think of this whole scene? It's pretty like flowery. There's like a lot going on when
it was so emotional when at the end it's just Butler and Beato clapping together, and they're like,
and Happiness Marinette is playing.
Yeah,
I found the gold theme. It was really exciting, and yeah, I would totally say like. It's a really important moment because people said like this is the moment where Beatrice and Butler is like actually seeing eye to eye, like they're just like standing there instead of being two opponents, are just like together celebrating the fact that like Eva just like won, like just got the headship, and then Butler keeps being like, I don't understand why you just had to put young Eva in like this like crazy dress and made her a witch, but like I don't know, good for her, I guess. Girl boss.
I mean, like. The way it was written, this whole scene, it seemed like the ending of a game. Like, she did it. She beat Umineko, or like at least...
Yeah, exactly. She beat Umineko.
And, the whole cast is like doing the whole congratulations.
Yo,
Congratulations, Shinji.
Yeah.
Yep, that's how it is.
And like you guys said, Meta Battler is in shock over Ava becoming a witch after solving the epitaph. And... At this point, you see that Bea Virgilia and Ronove are viewing themselves from an outside perspective. There's like 3 layers going on because there's the Battler Beatrice battle level, and then there's the witch coronation, all the magical beings congratulating Ava level, and then there's the everyone on Rokujima level. So there's a lot to
Which is kind of fun and spooky. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just more worlds, and between the worlds, how spooky that is.
And then Battler's like, what the fuck is going on? And Virgilia just tells him, this is Beatrice's explanation of magic. Don't think too hard about it. Or do, because that's the point. And Battler concedes that Ava did in fact solve the riddle this time around and became head. And Ronove suggests to see this Ava Beatrice as a separate entity within Ava. So basically she's the same person. So, I wonder what that means. And now that Beatrice's name has been passed on to Ava Beatrice, Beatrice is now just called Beato. And she was expecting Battler to give her a cuter nickname instead. There's this whole scene that's like, so Battler, now that my name isn't actually Beatrice anymore, do you want to call me something else, maybe? Like a cuter name? And she's like all pissy that he doesn't play along.
I'll call
and
you
name her.
Beato.
Yeah, she's like pissy that he doesn't play along and name her Sussy Baka or anything. So, you're my Sussy Baka, Beatrice. But, disgusting. Despite becoming a witch, Battler claps for Ava's achievement, as you guys said, and so does Beato. So there's this Battler moment, and they have a clap off. It's kind of funny because they do that thing where you try to be the last one to clap or be louder.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah.
Back on Rokujima.
We might have to hurry up, by the way, Lorenzo.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
you think you could go? Okay, thanks.
I'm going to go as fast as I can. Ava and Rosa sneak back in after finding the gold. This is, I think, morning at this point. The adults are rotating shifts guarding the door, and Ava's not feeling well. Hideyoshi takes her to their room. Let's see. I'll cut some parts out from my notes. Maria busted crying about.
And at this point, Eva is like lying on the bed, like thinking about like, wow, like, right now I'm like feeling super sick, like, like it's really uncomfortable. And then they have a really tender scene between like Hideyoshi and Eva, where Hideyoshi's best husband like just says a bunch of nice things, and he's like, I support you, I think you're great, like, and they talk about magic.
He's a true wife guy. And yeah, they mentioned the magic part where Ava spouts some shit about believing in magic and to Hideyoshi and her imaginary witch friend, young Ava, or Ava Beatrice at this point. But Maria comes in, bursts into the room, or I guess the guest house lobby, about
the corridor.
Yeah, about her
lobby. Yeah.
Yeah, about her missing Rose, and Rosa legit rolls her eyes at Maria's tantrum, and Rudolph suggests giving Maria a sedative, and Rosa's like on it, and she's like, "Oh shit, I ran out of sleeping pills for my child."
That scene always cracks me up. Like, it's so weird. Like Rudolph was like, "Is there any like medicine to shut a child up?" And then like Rosa's like, "Wait, let me find it in my handbag."
Right, and that just goes to show, how like they raise kids. I guess that could have been an '80s thing, but like
they're like it really reminds me of the very Casey Anthony, like, I'm gonna give the Zanny the nanny to like my child, God. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean that's basically it. They're horrible people, or horrible parents.
They're pretty horrible people.
So back to Ava freaking out about magic and her younger self becoming Beatrice. She tells him that she's afraid that the Beatrice's influence is somehow going to take over hers. And you don't actually know if she divulged the gold discovery to him, but it's probably safe to say that she did tell him, probably.
I mean, she loves Hideyoshi.
Yeah.
And Hideyoshi's a ride or die. Like, that man is in it for
sure.
To win it.
So keep that in mind. Maria is screaming and crying outside the room. Hideyoshi asks them to keep it down, and Maria looks him dead in the eye and screams as loud as she can to piss Ava off. Rosa asks Maria what she wants, and if she cries again, she'll hit her. And then Maria drags Rosa out to the rose garden to look for her rose. And Meta Battler's like, oh no, I know what's going to happen. They find the rose outside. Gold butterflies appear before them. And there's like this intense scene where it cuts between Ava in her room hyperventilating, like dying from a fever in her room, and this weird Ava-like entity appearing before Maria and Rosa. And they talk about the gold, and Rosa's like, hey, we already hatched out what we're going to do with the gold, right? And then Maria's like, wait, who is this? This isn't Ava. And then this Ava person turns into Ava Beatrice and starts rambling about how she's going to have all the gold to her. Maria recognizes her as Beatrice, and so does Rosa somehow. She's like, wait, you're not my sister. You're somebody else. And it seems that she's mixing her up with the lady who died before her eyes 19 years ago. So it's really weird as to who this person before Maria and Rosa is, because the game shows you it's Ava Beatrice, but it could also not be. Who knows?
Who knows?
But then Ava Beatrice absolutely whacks the shit out of Rosa Maria over and over again. She completely loses it over the fact that she can use her magic to repeatedly revive and kill, and turns Rosa into a meatball at one point, which I thought was really funny. Because that's like
It's
what
very
they
food
say
themed.
in the text.
Like it's very food theme attacks. Like
Yes.
she like drops a whole cake on them and then drowns them in cello. You know.
Well, yeah, because that's the dreams they used to have as children. That's why she's using these attacks.
Yes. It's very anime, very like Rosa, Ava lore-ish. They're like, you wanted to fly, didn't you? You wanted to be squished by a cake, didn't you? Now have it. Fucking die by it. And Battler's losing it in the metaverse over the fact that he's seeing Ava kill his family while Beato is mocking his breakdown. And Battler slaps the shit out of Beato and says, up yours, before storming off. And Beato's like, what did I do? And Virgilia and Renove low-key tell her that she's being a real asshole, so she jumps into the story, interrupts Ava Beatrice's massacre to give her the lowdown, and says, you know, you just got to kill and get on with it when you're a golden witch.
Yeah, like just like
pulling
tone
off the
the shit
sacrifice.
down, young lady. Like you just discovered magic. Like you shouldn't brandish it.
Right, and then she's like, watch how it's done. So she gives Maria a hug. A mark appears on her neck and she drops dead. And she impales Rosa's head on a fence spike. That's some real queen shit right there. I gotta say, when I was, a dumb baby and didn't know what Umineko was and was looking up top 10 anime deaths on YouTube, the Maria Rosa death scene showed up, and I was like, wow, that's hardcore. Like the fence spike thing, I was like, ooh, I felt that. Ava Beatrice is a little bummed out from being scolded, and she's bored out of her mind of... No, sorry, let me rephrase that. Ava Beatrice is a little bummed out from being scolded and how boring the death of the second Twilight was carried out. And Golden Beato wishes for Ava Beatrice to elegantly carry out the rest of the ceremony. And yeah, sure, I'll listen to whatever you say, Beato, Golden Witch, former Golden Witch Beato. Back in the guest room.
The witch formerly known as Beato.
Yes. Back in the guest room, Ava's fever has apparently calmed down and she's like knocked out cold, and Hideyoshi's there tending to her. Rudolph knocks on their door.
Yeah, and just on a specific note, I want to mention the very famous line, which is where Eva's like lying on the bed and like she's like screaming about how like she's gonna get torn away by the witch, and like Hideyoshi's like, I will not let go of this hand. Like, I will, like, the witch will never get to you when I'm here. Like, it's a sweet moment.
There's that, and it's kind of weird how there was her dying from her fever intermixed with the cuts of her younger witch self murdering.
They're not
Rosa
on the same
Maria
page.
over
Brutally
and over
murdering.
again.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like, what does that mean to you, reader? Who knows? We'll figure it out soon. Eventually, I guess. In the next 100 hours, probably. But they're in their guest room, and Rudolph knocks on their door asking where Rosa and Maria have disappeared to, because they've been missing for a while, and they all decide to look in the garden. And then Ava shoots up and begs Rosa not to leave because of the witch waiting for her there to sacrifice them. And she was like, dreaming of their killings. But we jump ahead to Virgilia announcing that the family found Rosa and Maria's bodies. They were stabbed through the head and strangled, respectively. And Beatrice confirms with Red that they are, in fact, dead. Battler sulks over that, and that despite their torture, their deaths were really as simple as, as it was reported, because they were,
Rosa got impaled, just like Nanjo explained, and Maria is strangled.
Yes, exactly. And he's sulking over the fact that he had to see them get tortured, even though, like, all that suffering was basically dismissed.
Yeah. And their guns are left.
Yeah.
Like Rosa's gun is left on.
Yes. Rosa's gun is mysteriously left, locked and loaded, and fully functional. And everyone's like, wait, that's weird. Battler's like saying, oh, you know what? This is probably the scene of an accident. There was no murder that happened. And Beatrice's like, well, maybe. And Battler cuts her off and says, shut up, I wasn't talking to you. Anyways. And then, like, he just does that over and over again. She's like, shut up, you monster. Anyways. And then
he just basically cuts her off. It's kind of rude.
It's really funny.
I mean, Beato deserves
he's like, don't get me wrong. It's not because we're
killing his family for the third time now.
Beato's like, you're probably ignoring me because we're opponents in a battle, right? And he's like, don't get me wrong. It's not because we're rivals. It's because you're a sick bitch. So
no, that's what a line.
Yeah, nice one, Battler. And he tells her, I don't want to play with you anymore. I want to play with Ronove now. And Beatrice decides to use Ronove as a middleman. And as Ronove...
It's like they're truly the type of thing where you're like, I don't want to talk to you. Could you tell a Beatrice that I said this to Ronove?
Yeah, in front of her.
Beatrice... Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty good. Ronove and Virgilia cover for Beato, saying that she doesn't have much experience having friends. And like, I was like, bruh, loser much? No, just kidding. And then Battler responds and says, she ain't my friend, so, ooh, kill him, Battler. Continuing on the murder discussion between Ronove and Battler, Ronove confirms Rosa's and Maria's deaths are homicides. The family takes the bodies inside, locks them in the guest room until police arrive and seal the guest house. And, I mean, if you want to mess up the crime scene, go for it, I guess. And Hideyoshi takes up the functional gun that was left behind, and Kyrie pops up saying that she thought the servant murders were a sham and that Nanjo was in on it, but now they're kind of freaked out because they saw the deaths of Rosa and Maria, or their corpses.
Oh, on another random note, I just want to celebrate the fact that one of the best sprites in the whole game, doesn't matter if it's in the original version or in this version, is Happy Hideyoshi with a gun. Happy Hideyoshi with a gun is probably one of the best sprites out there. He is just so happy.
I agree too. That image just popped in my head. I didn't even have to look it up. I was like, you're right. He's just so jolly. What a guy.
Like, he is so happy. He's like, and now I have a gun. This gun in my hand.
He's the man now, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. So after Hideyoshi's happy and holding his gun, Rudolph presumes that there is an extra 19th person who knows the island inside and out and planned this crime for a while. And they all come up with ideas like maybe a servant came around on their off day and started pulling this off. And they originally thought that Rosa's gun was a trap because it's weird how it's fully functional. So they're like,
maybe it's a trap. Let's test it.
Yeah, let's test it out.
Yeah, exactly. They were just confused because they were like, how could Rosa got attacked if she had a fucking gun with her? Like, what was she thinking? Like, if somebody was going to attack her, like, she has a fully loaded gun and it works, which they do test it. And then they're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Because Rosa and Maria were found in the garden without signs of a struggle. It's kind of weird how that... presumably the murderer wasn't someone that they were afraid of. And so they do an alibi check. Kraus, Natsuhi, Rudolph, and Kyrie can all vouch for each other. Hideyoshi and Eva were together in their own room the whole time. George, Jessica, Battler were also all together. And Nanjo was by himself, so people start jumping on his alibi's stability. But Natsuhi, Queen, puts a stop to the infighting. Eva is back to acting all feverish again. Eva Beatrice in her head, fully admitting to carrying out the killings and assures that the gold will all be hers. In Eva's head, herself and Eva Beatrice are fighting over, like, the morality of killing people. But Eva Beatrice is like, but being a witch is so rad and I love killing. She says that holding on to her childhood dream of attaining headship has let her stay young, while the adult Eva is old and crusty and grew up. So Eva begs Beatrice to go back inside her heart and never come back. And apparently, using magic saps Eva's life force, hence the fevers. Eva and Hideyoshi retreat back to the guest room so Eva can rest again. Beato comes in awkwardly to instruct Eva Beatrice about the rules of Among Us. Pulling off the ritual. The smaller that they are in number, the harder it is to pick them off, because it's easier to use magic against humans when they're all alone, because more witnesses means that magic becomes less believable. Eva Beatrice immediately understands the rules behind making a magical murder and shows her sadistic side a little bit more by saying the plain killings aren't making the murders magical enough, right? Because right now, the killings seem more like tricks pulled off by a really smart person instead of a magical being. Beato haughtily presumes Eva Beatrice will slip up and fail, but Ronove reports to Beatrice saying that Battler's catching on pretty quickly regarding the mystery going on. Battler believes that Eva is probably the most suspicious and Hideyoshi is an accomplice and that they're covering for each other, and they also mention that Battler has calmed down since Beato had left and she's only a little bit offended by that. So, after Beato instructs Eva on how to pull off a good magical murder, young Eva, or Eva Beatrice, is like, watch this. Like, I'm going to separate the smartest person away from the group. So Kyrie pulls Rudolph off to the side and asks him to leave the guest house with her. And we'll stop there regarding the spoiler-free summary part. Thank you so much for sticking with us if you haven't read the entirety of Umineko, because now we're going to jump into full-on spoilers.
Yeah. You're not going to want to be around for
Catch you next time. Right. Catch you next time. See cats do crimes. See you later. All right.
Spoilers!
Spoiler discussion. What do you guys want to talk about? Because there's a lot to catch on to here.
Mushroom, you can go.
Okay, so let's go from beginning to end. So one of the first things that we should talk about is the epitaph, which I mentioned I was going to talk about.
Hello, it's Mushroom here. I'm the one who's editing this, and that was just 25 minutes of me messily explaining how to solve the epitaph to Lorenzo and Des that I just cut out. Don't worry. We will soon put on an episode of A Smoking Room where we will be explaining how to solve the epitaph and a lot of other things as well. So yeah, look forward to that.
Do you think people were able to solve the epitaph right away when it came out? Because the translation team also translated it in real time, right? So they didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is my personal thought. I think whoever is crazy enough to solve this epitaph definitely not only read it in whatever language they read it in, they also looked at the Japanese version.
Because, the translation team was on the same page as everyone else who hadn't yet solved the epitaph, right? So they had to just go all right, we'll try to translate it as best as we can. Yeah,
and also the epitaph is, basically introduced in the first EP. Right. By then, nobody even know that this could be solved. So, I just imagine they translated like any other thing that they translated.
Yeah, okay. Got you. Yeah. All right. Well,
or in Chinese character, just characters in general.
Mushroom. I don't think we have. I'm not sure if we have mentioned this on the episodes of, or if this was during a voice call or something. But remember when I was like, "Yo, I fucking love how Beato is pretending to be all softy, and then at the end she goes back to being the Beato we know." And then you were like, "Is she though?" And then that just fucking opened my mind to the whole of VP3.
Yeah.
So I was reading this part already with that different perspective, and there's this. So when when Beato starts being like, "Oh, I didn't mean to hurt you, but or I'm sorry," and starts being all softy, aka breaking down the facade and letting Sayo come forth a bit. Then Vergiria is like, "Oh, you poor thing," and then Beato is like, "Help me, teacher," and then Vergiria is essentially just like, "Well, since you're already starting to break with the facade, why not just fucking be yourself this time and let that confuse Butler a bit?" or that will either confuse him more and make him more prone to actually be more stubborn and see this true, or that will lead him to the actual truth. So I don't see the problem, Beato. Just be yourself, girl.
Yeah, that's
Go for
basically,
it.
yeah, I think that's a really great scene that shows it. I mean, there's a lot of moments like that in EP3. Like, you could totally see, like, it's just like Renove and Virgilia's, like, parenting moment to, like, Beatrice. It's like, Beatrice, you're just being too roundabout. Like, Balor's gonna never figure out that you like him and, like, you have all these, like,
Yeah.
feelings for him if you don't, like, actually explain to him and, like, give him some, like, slack, like, cut him some slack. Like, you're just being too harsh on him.
Yeah, but I gotta say, EP3, fucking hell, they almost reach. EP3 goes a bit too much with the hints. Like, honestly, on the first time, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I have no fucking idea what's going on. But on a reread, I'm like, Beato, are you sure about throwing out these many hints? Like,
Yeah.
goddamn.
I totally agree. Des and I accidentally read ahead of us. Like, we read up to, like, the Death Hall stuff. And I just personally want to say that, like, I think when Ryukishi said, like, oh, I wrote EP3 to be, like, helpful for people, and then people were like, I don't believe you, like, EP3 is still, like, confusing as hell. And I was like, on a reread, you're like, no, EP3 is literally giving you the answer. Like, it's telling you why, like, any of things are happening, like, how do you construct a magical scene?
On the coronation scene, when Eva Beato is being coronated, and Wamta gives her the signature for her to be able to become a witch. Going back to what I said on the previous tea party, this is literally just Wamda being like, okay, so do you know how I am the witch of certainty who really likes hard workers? Congratulations, Eva. You, not only did you work hard to prove yourself as capable as men are, but also you solved the fucking epitaph. So I will give you the sponsorship.
Yeah, and also, if we were to go with the same line of thought that people keep saying that Lambda Delta is supposed to represent the bomb, that basically Lambda Delta is the bomb.
What?
Yeah, wait, what?
Okay,
What?
have you never heard of this theory?
What is this?
No.
Okay, Lambda Delta is the bomb. So, like, people... Okay, so one of the things is, like, people are like, who are Lambda Delta and Burn Cassell supposed to be? And one of the very big theories is Lambda Delta is the bomb, so she guarantees the certainty, because the bomb will definitely go off.
I don't like that. No, the manga...
No, listen to me, Des. Listen to me. Because there's two different powers. There is the endless power, and then there's the golden power. Beatrice becomes the golden witch because she solves the epitaph and gets gold, the gold. But she becomes the endless witch because Lambda Delta shows up and we're like, okay, you can become an endless witch. And the only way she can become an endless witch is that she bombs the island in the end. So it basically, like, all gets shrouded in mystery. That's how she can actually, that's how she can do any of the witch's power, because none of this would, that's a theory that, like, that's, you don't have to agree with me.
Okay,
I'm just telling you
that's
an interpretation.
That's a good reading.
So, like, that's an interpretation. I mean, like, have you not heard about how Sayome is gonna, like, make a new theory? Like, it's gonna kind of do a writing of a theory where, like, Burn Cassell is the cat in the box, and, like, and Lambda Delta is the lasers that they shoot in it, like, that kills the cat, and
What?
that's why they're.
What are you talking about? When did Sayome talk about this?
Do you not see her? Like, Sayome was talking about it on the Umineko, the discussion, like, spoiler channel, where she was like, could you get me some pictures of the Lambda Delta, like the fighting scene, because, like, is her power look like lasers that could also kill a cat? Like,
What the
oh
fuck?
my god.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the point of the story is Lambda Delta is the bomb. If we're going with that theory, not only that Eva could try, like, basically, like, is the golden witch, so she could, like, basically use the gold to kill, like, to have power, is that she also becomes part kind of like an endless witch, because she knows that there's a bomb that can, like, explode the fucking island.
And create
so
a
she can
cat
leave.
box. Okay, yes.
And create a cat box.
I
That's what I
like
mean.
the reading now.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I have a question now.
Go for it.
How do you think the whole logistics of this episode go when it comes to... Eva finds the gold.
Yes.
So how does Sayo know that Eva found the gold? How do you think the logistics work?
Okay, Sayo at this point is just wandering of the island now, right? Because she killed both versions of herself, and now she's just like wandering out like a ghost, like, you know? What I actually think it is that realistically speaking, I'm not sure if Eva actually ran into Sayo.
I don't think so. Do you want to hear my idea? My idea is that probably Sayo just left an envelope on the underground room, saying, like, giving the gist of it. So like, hey, so I am doing these murders. Now you have this ticking time bomb that you can defuse if you want to. Also, there's a passageway in case you want to let the bomb go off and steal the money for yourself.
I don't think Eva ever actually talks to Sayo, at least not for a long time. I think that's also that's also why I don't think that's why Eva was freaking out later on, which is a part we haven't got to yet, that like when she realized her son is dead, because she's at that point she actually has no idea who killed her son. Let's go back to talk about actually Rosa and Maria's murder, because that's a really simple murder.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Rosa and Maria?
It's clear. Like, first thing is, both of their murders are homicides, and I think it's just really simple in the way that, like, basically Eva, Rosa argue, they pushed each other, and then she fell on a spike. Like, simple as that.
Yeah, my only thought on this is something that happens afterwards, which just goes to show you how fucking dummies everybody in this fucking family is, aside from Eva, Rosa, and Kirie. Which is that, so like, all of the adults are together and they are figuring this out. They're trying to reason out what happened. And they're like, okay, so who is the culprit? The culprit has got to be somebody who Rosa would drop her guard around. It could not be a servant from another day, because I don't know what they say, but there's a reason why it couldn't be a servant from another day. It has to be someone somebody like they both know and trust, and that would have willingly let them get this close, and more,
without her firing off a gun,
and more. It would also have to be someone who would end up getting the gun, which is why they would leave the gun there. And of course, the one who would get the gun is fucking Hideyoshi, who was also not there with them, with the adults, when the murder happened. So of course, are you fucking dumb? Of course it's Hideyoshi and Eva, the only people who were not there.
I don't think Hideyoshi
I think he covered. I think he stayed behind in the room to cover for Eva while she snuck
of course.
out. I also wanted to say, do you guys think that Maria was strangled by Rosa or Eva?
What?
No, Bachelor is like, oh, maybe like Rosa like slipped, like maybe Rosa went into a rage and then strangled Maria, and then Rosa slipped and fell and then died, and then that's how it happened. And then Beatrice like immediately sneers and was like, well, like it's not like that, like both Maria and Rosa are both homicides. So I think we can assume that it's more like Eva kills Rosa, like in an accident, and then Eva kills
Maria.
Like Maria, like to strangle her, basically, because she's a witness.
Good. And like this is all to say that also I think, what was it? Is this whole forgery written by? Who's the forgery written by?
Ikuko and Toya.
I'm pretty sure Toya and Ikuko.
And then this is when Battler's like, oh, what the fuck? We're writing my family killing each other.
Oh, no, I think I find this really funny on a meta-narrative, because I'm like, just like I mentioned this before to Des, I was like, basically like, Ikuko and Toya's like baby first like Rokenjima killing, they basically wrote in all of the like the most like hottest theories, like, yes, and then Eva killed everybody, Rudolph and Kirie are super sus, and like watch them like try to murder this other dude, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's really funny that they basically wrote in like basically the Rokenjima theory greatest hits and wrote like every single culprit theory in there, like, do you know what I mean? They wrote like Eva culprit theory, and then wrote in Rudolph Kirie culprit theory by like basically making them like the most suspicious out of everybody, and actively basically plotting to murder Hideyoshi. You know, like, and then I mean, I just imagine like this was like super popular and then completely ruin Angie's life.
Right. Huh.
Which is why she comes back at the end of this episode.
So this also goes back to Eva Beatrice's massacre on Rosa and Maria. Like, is there some sort of hidden meaning behind the repetitive and vicious killings, or is it just like someone's writing indulgent fantasy murders? What's the deal with all that?
Okay, I have a
for it.
few thoughts on that. So, first thing is I actually don't know because I feel like okay. So one of the things that I didn't understand is that why did Battler react so poorly to seeing Rosa getting murdered like this, like Rosa and like Maria? Because what I was thinking is all of the previous murders that like Beatrice did was pretty gruesome too. Like the whole all of the first murders, like EP2 chapel murder is fucked up. Everybody's stomachs is torn open and there's stuff with candy. Like it doesn't get more fucked up than that. But why does Battler actively hate this scene? And I think what's actually true is that I think what Battler hates about this scene is more that it's funny that I think about that Beatrice presents murder really gruesomely, which is that she presents people's stomach getting torn out, or a really twisted idea of a really rotation of a chain. But all of the murder, actual magic murder you see on screen are all very noble deaths. When Beatrice goes out to kill Jessica in canon, both canon fights to his death. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's he dies a heroic death basically. Or even the scene where in the end of EP2 where Beatrice kills Shannon, Goda, and George, it's still the kind of they're fighting with the witch, they are actively fighting, they die of a death where they struggle and they fight and they get basically have an idea of a chance that could live, but they fail, they basically fall to the witch's power and then they die. And I think why he hates the scene is how brutal and how helpless Rosa and Maria, they basically have no fighting chance and they basically get murdered over and over again. I think that's why he hates it. That's my best way of reading it.
That's a good reading. I want to add two factors to that though.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so one of them is that when you think of how Beato goes about, well, when Beato does the Twilights, she does these gruesome scenes. It's not because maybe she enjoys it, but the main reason is to fuck with Butler. Whilst when Eva Beato does it, she's genuinely enjoying it. And then Beato, who's sitting in the sidelines, also, lets out that she's actually genuinely enjoying this. And this is kind of the first time where we see her, looking at this and being yeah, this is cool, instead of being look at this, Butler, look,
That's how. Do you have any other thought?
Butler was literally just clapping with Beato the scene before, so I think the reason he closes off so much is also because he kind of resents the fact that he was giving in to the witch and kind of seeing her in a friendly manner. So he's not anymore.
True. He just hates himself that he basically was nice to her.
I think it was weird, the one part where Rosa also encounters this Eva Beatrice in the garden, and she's wait a second, you're the lady, are you that lady from 19 years ago? That's just who was she? I don't know. It was just a strange part for me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. I'm still pretty sure it's the type of thing where I think in this point Rosa must have think Eva Beatrice's mannerism is so different that she must have she's just there's no way you're my sister. I think that's
you're the ghost who's exacting revenge on me. You're gonna come at me and okay.
Yeah, exactly. Basically and this basically happens right after Rosa repents about how she accidentally murdered.
Right. Okay,
this
so she's
woman,
still freaked out. She
so
still believes in ghosts and possession probably.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, so yeah, so did you see the screenshot I just
read it
typed?
out
And it
loud.
just says, Eva Beatrice says, oops, that's right, if I don't take her down right away, this is what happens. And she says, the witches hadn't intend to send Rosa plummeting, but she still wasn't used to using magic. After plummeting about 100 meter into a rosebud in a very, very natural result, Rosa died instantly, but the witch hasn't intended to kill her, so she wished that Rosa hadn't died.
So Eva did accidentally
was
kill
like-
Rosa.
And I was like, and that is buried around, like shitloads of other texts that like it's about like how she's just gonna revive her and kill her over and over again now. But when I read that line again, I was like, oh, she's admitting it. Like that's an accident. She didn't intend to kill her, but it's still a homicide.
Oh my god!
I mean, I guess it's like a involuntary. Voluntary manslaughter? Is that what it's called?
Sure, I guess. But that's a super good catch. Oh my god. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, isn't that incredible?
Yes, it is. I agree. That was a very, very nice catch.
Yeah, and then I think like Eva had no choice but to strangle Maria, you know?
So what about the reviving part? Because like it sounds like she's delusional, of course. I mean, in this writing, of her,
none of that happened. It's just she just kills them, and she just like she's losing her mind, and she runs back probably to like Hideyoshi's like and cries.
Okay,
you know?
so it could
She's
be
a
like
shovel.
just her getting the rush of killing someone, and she's like, I could do this to anyone now. Like I'm a freak.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
I do like that catch about the falling becoming an accident or accidentally killing her after her supposed fall. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It just hit me.
What's that?
We haven't even.
What?
Okay, does anybody have any more thoughts?
No, I'm done
Okay,
with
so
that.
Wes thought we literally covered the part where Eva Beato is introduced, and we didn't even mention the amazing laugh that the voice actress has given her.
Oh, she always does it.
Solid.
Yeah. She manages to
With
do a
hyena
laugh with
laugh?
all 5 vowels in there somehow. She's like, yeah, you. I love Eva Beato.
Good job, Dust. That was
Yeah,
really
I mean, like out of
amazing
all of them, her
performance.
laugh is probably the best one because it's a really obnoxious, childish laugh.
I don't see
that,
why people call it obnoxious. I think it's like masterful. I love it.
All that to say, I do like her laugh. I appreciate it. It's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we want to talk
Nothing.
about? Like, so the parts we covered are
Nothing, right? There was the whole after Battler got angry at Beato for being like a real dick about killing people, and Renove and Virgilia are like, be easy on her. She has no friends. That's like you know, once you know the truth behind Sayo, it's like a oh man moment. Like she doesn't have like a filter.
any concept of how to, yeah.
because there is
Yeah,
no one
totally.
she could talk to, right? Like she doesn't know that this
No.
is
Yeah.
kind of morbid and Battler's a pussy. But no, just kidding.
Yeah, I feel like it is definitely the type of thing where basically Beatrice is like, oh, well, like, if you could share my love of mysteries and you can share my love of this, why can't you share my love of like,
gore.
weird bloodlust? Like, exactly. Like, what is not fun about killing all the family
He's
over
not
and
Yeah,
over
like,
again?
we can
you
revive
can
them
totally
back
get
to
it.
this. Why are you mad?
Right.
Like, why are you mad, bro? Like, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice part, a nice touch. But it's also like, man, Sayo, go off. Like, I'm also into murders and shit. I mean, not like I'd kill people, but I'm into it.
Yeah, exactly. Why else would we be on a podcast and talking about this?
I would let a
Yeah,
witch
and
play with
talking
my
about murders.
family's wives if it made a good mystery.
Nice.
Thank you, Gus. But yeah,
We have that on record.
I-
I'm scrolling through my notes. There was the part where I didn't catch on to the red truth about the 18 people, one of the 18 people being the culprit, like on my first read around.
You
and
didn't?
now I'm like, wow, they spell it out for you. I'm like a stupid reader. Not only do I take 50 hours to read a 10-hour game, I also am just completely dumb and stupid. So I didn't catch on to that the first time around, and now I'm like, oh man.
That's fine, mate.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you're like, oh man, you're kind of an idiot. Yeah, you're right.
I
me
mean,
see.
it happens to everyone.
Oh, also, do you want to know some? Okay, and now I'm gonna read you some funny lines that Dubs wrote while we were reading that would really sound hilarious to you. Are you ready?
Go for it.
So one of the things that that Dubs said when we finally got to the Golden Land room is Dub said, the Golden Land room is red, gold, and black. It means it's like Germany.
What?
And then
Jesus.
I
Oh my
was
God.
like,
What?
write that down. And it's funny because in the very beginning when we first started reading, Dubs went, yeah, when you keep saying Nazi is looking for hidden gold, then it almost sounds like Nazi hidden gold. And I was like, ugh, you think you're so smart, don't you? We're gonna write that down. And he's like, why? And I was like, just you fucking wait. I'm just like so pissed.
Okay, question. When we recorded the Dubs episode, he was on the battle on the Kirie, Hideyoshi, and Rudolph. scene, right?
Yeah.
So the episode
That's
will come
when we're
out
releasing
after
his
the
episode.
episode after this one.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So listeners, I do hope you are looking forward to the episode after this one because there's a lot to unpack there, and me and Mush literally cannot fucking wait with our thoughts fucking oozing out of us.
Look forward to the next episode. I know we keep referring to this person named Dubs, and it seems that we recorded an episode a long time ago, but yeah, Dubs has a really amazing episodes. It's going to be on the smoking room, and it's going to be about their first time reader experience, and it has a lot of interesting thoughts in it. And when we finish EP4, we are going to invite him back on, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, totally.
One of the funny thing is, like, one of the cake that she squishes, like, Evatris squishes Rosa by is a cheesecake that's called I don't know how to say it. Does anybody in here speaks French? Because I don't.
We don't.
Was it a meal? Was it a millefeuille?
Here,
Millefeuille?
read that.
Gâteau au chocolat.
Yeah, that's a
Gâteau.
cheesecake. That's a chessboard cake. Like it's a black and white cake.
Oh, okay.
Ah, yes. It's the chess thing.
And
Yeah, it's a chessboard cake. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
chessboard,
checkerboard.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh, I got you.
and also like they keep talking about the cake is an inheritance. Like that's another thing that Dubs keeps writing about. Like the cake is an inheritance. They keep saying that that we are dividing cake, and Rosa is crushed by the cake, which is Rosa got crushed by the inheritance.
Ah.
Yeah.
Symbolic.
Damn.
That's kind of
Very.
cool. That's a good reading of it. Yeah. So I guess we can cut it. Again, thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time. See cats, do crimes. Goodbye.
Come and see ya.